So how's it going? So I just wanted to make a quick video talking about kind of what to expect from your truck whenever it gets cold. If you have a variable geometry turbo, a lot of people I've been reading lately have been freaking out because they're kind of new to the game, which is okay. I might start doing a video series on kind of what to expect from your truck, from your diesel truck. I have a 2012 Ram with a 6.7 Cummins in it, and I actually have a 2-tier step for warming up. So I almost never plug my truck in. Right now I got to replace the block heater plug. All the block heater plug does is keep the coolant inside of your block warm. That's pretty much it. It's like a toaster. But instead of it you putting something inside of it, it's like a plug. It's literally a plug that goes in, and it sits inside of your coolant on the side of the block, and you plug it in and it just keeps it up to temperature, so that when you start your truck up the next day, the truck and the block itself is already warmed up for your oil, so it doesn't take as much time to start up. So what my truck does instead of that right now is I have a 2-tier warm-up process for my VGT. So VGT just means variable geometry turbo. All it means is that there's little shutter flies inside of the turbo that open and close depending on what you're doing with the throttle of your truck. So basically the gas pedal. I call it a throttle because there's no gas inside of a diesel. And so what mine does is after about 30 seconds of being on, it'll close the vanes, and then the truck has to rev up just a little bit, and then start adding more fuel. And then after about the 2-minute mark, the truck revs up more while the vanes are still closed to warm up even faster. And the first tier turns on whenever it's under 35 degrees, and the second tier turns on when it's under, I think it's 25 degrees outside. And all it does is allow the oil and the temperature of the truck and the block itself actually to get warmed up faster. So all the heat that the turbo makes, it traps it in, warms up the block, warms up the oil, warms up the coolant. So in about 5 or 6 minutes, my coolant temperature is about 130, 140 whenever it's like 15 degrees outside. Or this morning I think it was like 9 degrees outside. And then the oil pressure will actually go from 50, which you don't want to immediately turn on your truck and start driving it because it's a diesel, if it's cold outside. It'll go from 50 to about 45 to 40. And that's about where you want it. That way you can press your throttle pedal and actually drive the truck, and then it'll go back up to that 50 mark until the truck fully warms up. Usually when you're pushing your truck, the highest that it should really ever get, as far as like what you're seeing on the gauge, is like 50 to 60. And I just mean like everyday driving and towing. So I'll go ahead and put a snippet of what my truck sounds like, so you kind of know what to expect. The modifications done to my engine are just, I have an intake horn, and instead of a grid heater, I have a grid plug. And then I have a aftermarket Fleece Cheetah turbo, and I have a City Diesel VGT. So those are the modifications that are done to the engine. And then I have a 5-inch axle, or 5-inch turbo back. So my truck might be a little bit more loud than yours is, but this is kind of what you can expect if your truck doesn't have any emissions on it and you have a variable geometry turbo. If you don't have this sequence set up, you can contact a tuner, and they'd be more than willing to flash your ECU and get it to be on there so that it reads the temperature outside. And if the ambient temperature is under a certain parameter, your tuner can set whatever that parameter you want it to be. You can make it turn on at 50 degrees if you want. Mine just happens to turn on for anything under 35 degrees, 35 or under. And even sometimes at 40, depending on how cold the block is. So yeah, I'll just put the snippet here, and if you have any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and start this year off by making a video series kind of going over some of the modifications that are done to my truck and some of the newbie type like specifications or newbie type things if you're not used to diesels. Like say you're coming from a gas, it's your first diesel truck. I'm just going to go over some of these things, and hopefully it helps you out. I know I would have appreciated learning something like this whenever I first started in the game. I just kind of went and learned as I went. So yeah, so hope you enjoy the video. Thanks.